iPhone without the hype. iPhone launched last week. A plethora of punters were on hand. Punters, eh? My producer likes that word. We're on hand for its midnight launch. Does the iPhone live up to its expectations? How old is the story? You know, I think it's going to be like a record for number of stories. They should be tracking the number of iPhone stories, good and bad. My favorite one this week was about the fake story about the iPhone Nano.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know,
where they're going to have the miniature iPhone. Yeah, but you're
one.
so negative about the iPhone.
No, I'm not. I got a hold of one. Michael Butler of rockandrollgeek.com fame. He got one immediately. I was playing with it. A lot of these guys who got these early, especially these Mac nutcases, they're actually they get all these complaints about it.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool.
They were lining up paying $1,500 for the iPhones. But, you know, I spent about an hour with one yesterday. The interface is fantastic. You know, it really is an incredibly good interface. Either Apple will just have ongoing success with that interface, or it'll be quickly copied. You know.
Well, they're going to have trouble. There's 200 patents protecting that interface. Have you got one?
Yeah, I do. Alex and I both got one.
Yeah.
And
did you guys wait in line?
I did.
Kind of.
I did. I owned up to my geekness. I sat in line in the Third Street Promenade for 2 hours.
If you hadn't have gotten in line, you would have just walked in, waltzed in, and picked one up.
I know. It was one of those things. I showed up at 6, and I was
So
like,
did I.
"There's a line."
I showed up at 4, and they were opening up at what, 6? Right, 6. And I was waiting there. There's about 200 people in line.
Well, which store did you go to?
The Stonestown Mall.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm sitting out there, and there's about 200 people in front of me, and then I get this call from this date that I'm supposed to go on at 7, and she's like, no, this honestly got a true story. She's like, I'm at the bar already. And like I can't let her sit there for like an hour by herself at the bar. Like I wanted to, go and.
So this was like Sophie's choice.
Isn't that
Sophie's choice. You had to pick between the date and the iPhone.
Right.
iPhone or a lazy.
So you chose the iPhone?
No. The guy that was standing next to me is like, I love Dignation, and he's like, want me to buy you an iPhone? And I was like, yes. And so he bought it, and I got it from him the next day. But it turns out they had so many, it didn't matter.
Did you give him the money in advance?
No, he just bought it, and then I paid for him.
You know what? That
I would
proves
ask
our
for the
fan
money
base.
and then walked with it.
We have some loyal
You guys are
fans.
recognized in the street. You're rock stars.
And people will give us $600 products and hope we pay them back.
Kevin, do you think that maybe walking around with that big dig hoodie on
that could have done a little bit of
recognizability? I mean,
I didn't have this one on at the time.
That's awesome. I will say I ended up buying one. I was not going to. Anybody that watches this.
So what do you think of the thing?
I like it.
got
It's
it
probably
free.
one of the best phones that I've ever had.
It is very good. You know, we should not do a content-free show, though. There are a few things to criticize about it. One
yes.
is the battery is stuck in there. You have to mail your phone back to Apple.
Well,
and pay all this money to do that, which is ridiculous.
That is definitely
The
true.
storage is not sufficient for the kinds of things that they're shooting for, video and music and all the rest of that.
True.
Wi-Fi.
Right. I bought it. Honestly, I bought it to be a phone, because I've done everything. I put it in my pocket. First thing I looked at it and I went, man, this thing's going to go in my pocket and it's going to be destroyed in 5 seconds. And I said, well, that's Apple's fault. This is a phone. Phones go putting in your pocket. Like, that's what people do with cell phones.
It holds up pretty well.
Holds up great. Holds up great. The quality's good. The interface is amazing. And personally, I really think the reason why this is such a sort of leap in the cell phone industry is because they don't have any of the sort of back baggage that the Nokias and the Samsungs and all these other people, because they've been building phones to the best that they can at the time, and then like one new little functionality comes out and they try to cram it into the phone. So their newest phone is sort of still has this old baggage from back when it was like no color, you could barely get text on the screen and all this stuff.
There's two major problems with the iPhone. There's two problems. One,
I have a couple more than that.
you
but
can't send SMS messages to multiple people. You can only do it to one person at a time.
Yes.
That is ridiculous.
So you like
That
to
is
broadcast
stupid.
your SMS?
Well, I want to send it to a few people. If I'm going out, and I want some people to meet up, I want to go 3 people, and it can only do one at a time. And the other thing is you can't take a picture and send it via MMS or over SMS.
Both of those kinds of things, though, the iPhone's going to become a platform for which all kinds of shareware and software things are going to appear. Those are solvable problems with those.
Yeah,
kinds
no,
of
I agree.
problems.
Those things are
They'll be
those can
quickly
all be
solved.
fixed.
Yeah.
Well, I actually had just trying to get over here, we had a little bit of an iPhone mishap. I called Prager on the phone 3
The guy
times.
who dropped you off at CNET?
The guy who dropped
David
me off
Prager?
at CNET, David Prager. Sorry, Prager. I
the
told
one
him
and
not to
only.
say. But I called him like 3 or 4 times, and I think that it's doing so much fancy stuff that there are times when you're checking this and checking that and doing all this stuff, and there's not enough processing power to realize that a phone call is coming through. And at the end of the day, there have been times where I'm like, wow, I can't answer that phone call because I was just in the middle of texting, and then it just goes, nobody's calling. And so I think that stuff has to be
That has to be fixed.
Yeah,
That
that has to be
doesn't sound
fixed.
So anyway, just to finalize this little segment, go to Dvorak.org/blog and you'll find a link to the guy who grinds the iPhone up in his blender.
Good times.
Did you see, you know they have like all these hazardous chemicals in there, and he's grinding it up, and then he just basically takes the lid off, and all this like smoke and like fibers of metal are floating in the air, like little bits.
But he does warn you not to sniff
Yeah,
that.
but he's sitting there breathing it in himself. That guy's gonna have cancer in like 5 years.
What
I hate to say it.
What cracked me up was that most of these people destroying the iPhone when it first came out were from the investment community. You had like Michael Schmilkin from Piper
No, they're
Jaffray
trying to
smashing
find.
it
No,
up.
that's
They're trying to
just-
find out if the Hitachi.
No,
part
they
or
want to find out
Samsung
how many
part.
ARM. One of the main things is they're trying to find out how many ARM chips are in the thing because they can't. They've found 3, and they're trying to find out how many cores are in there because they're trying to. They're trying to. Well, a lot of people are trying to reverse engineer the thing.
Right.
Which is awesome. Some
Which
of
they did. They
Did
got
you
access
see
to the
Wow?
file system.
Did
Did
you
you
see
see that?
Wow? Yeah. What do you? What?
did
Every
that
story I look is I'm like, tick-tock. And that's $5,000 from Kevin.
Thank you for the plug, sir.
Every time I say it, it's
pay
great.
you later.
What? He's look at
my
this.
rent.
Look at the thing he's wearing.
What?
I'm gonna start wearing Dvorak Uncensored or
You should have a Dvorak
Cranky
hoodie.
Geeks or something like that on my chest.
Hoodies are awesome.
They are. I agree. Okay, we're gonna take a break right now, and we'll talk about hoodies and other things right after this message.